Hey folks, it's Lev. Welcome back to another video. For those of you who are new, I use he and pronouns. This video might just be one of the more very personal videos in a different sense. Um, so yeah, just a heads up that I'll be talking about medical stuff and there's gonna be discussion about needles as well and all of that stuff. So if that's not really your thing, that's okay. Might need to give this video a miss because I will be talking about needles and stuff, or just skip that part in the video. So if you've been following my recent videos, and if you haven't, that's okay as well. If you're completely new here and this is your first video, that's okay as well. So I've been experiencing a lot of physical symptoms, especially chest pain and nausea, unexplained chest pain and nausea, and recently I just experienced this burning pain in my chest, like my heart area. It's like this burning pain. It's like someone literally set my heart on fire and it's literally incinerating inside. That's what it feels like. And so like this is the first time it happened to me and I didn't know what was going on. And so I admitted myself into ER not too long ago. I admitted myself, ER is emergency room, so I went to the hospital. I admitted myself into emergency because I didn't know what was going on, and even though I had a feeling that it was not medically related, as in there's nothing functionally or functionally or structurally wrong with my heart, like medically, biologically, physiologically, I didn't think there would be anything wrong, but I went to ER anyway because I didn't want to risk it. And it could have been something life threatening, and I didn't want to risk it. And so I went to emergency, and I'm gonna start the story from there. I haven't been into emergency for almost over 2 years, so interesting experience. Things have changed because of COVID, the pandemic, COVID restrictions, and everything. Um, First thing would be changing my name. So I've been to that hospital before, but that was before I got my name legally changed to Lev and like my gender to be legally recognized as a man. And so in the file, it was under I had my old name there and my like female as the gender or sex as they call it, which is not the same thing, but yeah, a completely different video about sex and gender, male and female. So that's for a different video. But yeah, I told them I've been here before. I had my new ID, right, and I could have just not said anything and just have the medical record of the day I went to the ER just go under my new name. But I'm like, I have been here before, and all of my medical files are under my old name. Maybe we can sort of update it or transfer the old medical files over to Lev's file. And so that's what they did. Like they updated my name to Lev and gender to sex to male. Yeah, that's for a different video. But yeah, and then waiting room was pretty relatively busy. I waited for 2 hours to get in, which is stock standard normal for here. And so when it was my turn, the worker came out into the waiting room, called out my birth name, and I'm like, wait. In my head, I'm like, wait, that's me, but that's not me. And I already said that my name is Liv, and I was thinking, what is going on here? So I hesitantly walked up because, in my birth name, like the name they called out, it had sex as female. And then as I was walking up to the worker sort of got confused because I'm a guy, or yeah, I'm a man, and then it said female, and they were expecting someone who was female. This whole sex. Actually, I'm gonna talk about it right now. Sex and gender are not the same thing. Like my sex is female. I'm not assigned male at birth, and my sex is female, but then they don't separate sex and gender, and they just use sex, and now in the record it says male, but that's not true because I'm not a cisgender man. and my sex is not male because I was not assigned male at birth. And so that whole thing is just, I don't like it. It's like my sex is not male. My gender is man, but my sex is female. Like I'm biologically female. That's the reality, but that's not what it's recognized as, and it annoys me. But anyway, yes, the worker was confused, and so me and the nurse and went up to the admin again, saying what's going on here, and it's like all the details, like it's Lev, it's male, what's going on here. And then that was a bit awkward for me. It's like me having to like explain things again, like I explained it earlier, when I initially came and said, oh, my name's under my file's under a different name because I legally got my name changed, yada yada yada. And then I had to do that whole thing again, which is exhausting. It's just like, okay, my name is Lev now, I'm trans, I got my name changed, and I am a man, and just explain that whole thing in. And I'm like, here's proof. Here's my old name, my old ID. Here's my new ID. I am the same person, but I'm just under a different name. And now I come out as trans and I'm transitioning. So yes, I did that whole thing twice within like, I don't know, a few hours, but still so exhausting. And they were saying something along the lines of, we're trying to make this like a safe and comfortable space, and then that whole dead naming thing happened unintentionally, and I think I made it really awkward for the nurse who was taking me in. But that was the first thing that happened. So I was in hospital for around 7 hours total. And yeah, when I went in, they did the basic tests essentially. First did an ECG, which is an electrocardiograph. Yes, it like measures the pulse and the heartbeat thing. It's like that did 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 thing. Yeah, and then did blood tests. This is where I'm going to talk about needles. So if you don't like needles and stuff, skip this part of the video. Blood test was interesting. So that morning, I had went to get a blood test for my GP. And the reason why is because I already had chest pain before admitting myself into ER. Like, and then in the afternoon of that day, the burning chest pain happened, and that was why I went to ER. But in the morning and the weeks before, I already had like my regular chest pain, and so I went to get bloods done to see what's going on. I also went to get an ECG outside of the hospital that morning before I admitted myself into hospital, and so I already had blood tests done, and I did another blood test, and in the morning, the person taking my blood jabbed my left arm, and no blood was coming out of the vein. Weird. I mean, it happened to me before. I don't know why, but no blood was coming out, and then the nurse was like doing this with the needle, like trying to get blood to come out, literally moving around like this in my arm, and no blood came out. And then when I did the blood test at the hospital, the same thing happened. Different vein, and the nurse was really confident that they could get blood out of it because they knew that I had blood taken from my right arm in that morning. And I'm like, so I said, do my left arm. And the nurse found a different vein, jabbed the needle in. No blood was coming out. And the nurse was doing this again, like literally, it's like probably a millimeter off or something. And it's like literally navigating the needle around while it's in my vein or my arm, trying to find the vein, and it was just like moving it around. It ached. It ached. But yes, no blood was coming out, and then she did. So usually when I take blood, they have the needle, and then they connect that needle, which is connected to like a little tube thing with blood flowing out into, and then they connect that to the little test tube thing where they collect blood. That's how I'm usually been take. That's usually how blood's been taken. But this time the blood wasn't coming out, so the nurse like did a syringe where she connected that to the needle tube thing, and then like pulled it out. It's like if you put a syringe into like a liquid and you pull the bottom out, it just like absorbs the fluid. That's what she was doing with my blood. and only a little bit of blood came out. But yes, it's like that, and then still much wasn't coming out, and so my right arm got jabbed again, and so I had two blood tests done on the same day on my right arm, and then I have like four needle holes in total from the day. Yeah, that's a lot. I've never had four needles jabbed into me in one day before, so that was a new experience. Needle part over. And yes, I just remembered like I had to tell my story like four different times to four different people, and it got exhausting as well. Like when I first came in, I told the triage nurse what was going on, to be admitted. And the nurse who took me in, I repeated what I said to the triage nurse, like what was going on with me. I said it to her, and then later I repeated the same thing to the doctor at the hospital in the emergency ward. And then later on, I had repeated the thing to the night nurse on shift. So I told it four times, and it got really exhausting just having to explain my pain again and again and again. It's like, yo, all work in the same team. Like, do a handover or something. I shouldn't have to be repeating myself four times. It's just really exhausting. I guess that's the way the hospital system works. It's not ideal. Like, ideally, I'm the person seeking support. Oh, this is how we do it in like mental, or my team, my mental health team. The way we do it is we do warm handovers. So the person tells us their story like once to the worker they're with, and then when a new worker works with them, we hand over what we sort of tell the new worker, okay, this is what's been going on with this person, this is what they've shared with their consent, of course. It's just like, this is what's going on with them, this is where we're up to. And then the new worker working with the person knows exactly what's going on, and just can come in and just start working with the person, instead of the person having to repeat their story again and again and again to like 10 different workers. That's not good. Like, it's exhausting, and especially with mental health stuff, it can be very activating, and it might trigger people again, because they have to, especially if it's like traumatic, repeating the story over and over and over and over again doesn't help anyone. I mean, it helps the workers, but like, it doesn't help the person who's reaching out for support. So back to the hospital experience. So the blood test and the ECGs, like, it didn't happen like bang 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 within like half an hour. Like, there was like delay time in between, like the nurses going to chat to the doctors, and then they come in and to check on me, and then it's just like time delays between each test. And I also did a chest X-ray, which was interesting. Because I wasn't like lying on the bed. Like, I thought I was gonna be lying on the bed thing, and the machine's on top of me doing the scan. But I was just standing up, and I was literally hugging the machine. I was hugging the machine. There was like two handles at the back, and I was just like put my chest on the vertical thingy majiggy, and then I hugged the machine. It took like 5 seconds, but like that was really interesting. Like, I never hugged the machine like that to do tests, medical tests before. So that was interesting. And to get to the X-ray room, they pushed me in a wheelchair. I think they push everyone in a wheelchair. But then I said to the nurses, I can walk. Like, I can walk. Like, I don't need a wheelchair. But they said it's part of the service, and I literally said to them, like, I feel like this is too much privilege, because to me, it just feels weird for me if like I am able to walk and I'm using a wheelchair. It just didn't feel right to me. But I guess it's part of their hospital procedure, so like everyone gets pushed around in a wheelchair regardless of whether or not they can walk. So yeah, it felt weird to me. I didn't exactly like it, but it was part of the procedure, so I had to go along with it. And so, yeah, I was laying there for a while waiting for results, for all of the results to come back and be reported to me, essentially. I don't know if that's the way I think of it. They come back and tell me results, and nothing. Everything came back negative. Everything looks clear. Blood's all good. They tested different, like they tested kidneys, pancreas, literally blood tests, like all around. Everything is clear. Chest X-ray is clear. Uh, what's the other thing? ECG all looks fine. There was nothing medically wrong, and it was reassuring because at least I like the one of the reasons why I went to the hospital is because I wanted to rule out anything medically serious. Like I didn't know, so it's ruled out now. I got discharged at like midnight. I went home and now I'm here. So that's ruled out, like serious underlying medical problems with my heart or my other organs ruled out. Everything is clear, which is good news. But then it leaves me with the question: what is what is setting off this pain? Because I still have it, and I still feel sick, and like this faintiness in my head, it's still here. It's like there's so many possible things that are going on that might be setting it off or activating it, or like it could be my body's way of manifesting unresolved trauma because there is nothing medically wrong. Like there's nothing wrong. Like I'm healthy. Everything is functional. So this experience of chest pain in particular is is something else. And it's something else I don't understand yet, or I don't understand what my body's trying to say to me with this pain manifesting itself. I'm aware that my mental and physical health have a very strong interlinking connection. Like it doesn't happen like independently of each other. It always affects one another. And I thought maybe like my mental health is not so great, and as a result, it's manifesting as chest pain. Like I've thought of through that, but the answer is not so clear to me because consciously and right now, there is no like bugging issues in my conscious mind at least. Nothing seriously bothering me that I haven't resolved yet, and so part of me believes that it's unresolved trauma that is residing in my body, waiting to be dug up and worked through, essentially bringing it to my conscious awareness and then working through it, bringing what's below the surface up, essentially. And another question is, how do I dig this up? How do I bring this up to the surface so I'm actually aware of it and can start to heal? And like if this is bodily trauma, I guess, or trauma manifesting in my body, it's very intense. Like this is if it is, which I think it's part of it, it's very intense manifestation of trauma, like burning sensation in the chest, like burning pain, very intense. Another theory is that so my first medical condition, I'm not sure if I talked about it. Maybe I did when I started this YouTube channel 3 years ago, long before I came out as trans and stuff. But it was an autoimmune disease, and essentially my immune system was destroying the healthy cells in my body. And a little bit of a graphic description here, so if you don't like graphic stuff, skip this part. So like my legs, it started as spots on my leg, and then it sort of grew out into bigger red spots, and then it started turning purple. It was swollen. It was throbbing pain. I was limping. Just giant purple wounds on my both of my legs, like my lower legs, and after the like it was purple at first, and then it started healing, and then it I could see the blood and the fat. It was just everything was exposed. I had to always use these very expensive band-aids, and there was ones I used with silver in it too to like kill bacteria and like keep it hygienic. I bandage my legs every day, and it's not like this band-aid. It's it's a big square band-aid because the wound is like that. big or bigger. Or, like there was one that was like more oval shaped, but like one was like this big. So band-aids like this isn't gonna cut it. I spent a lot of money on band-aids, like thousands of dollars. It's not cheap, but yes. So I think possibly. Oh yeah, and then after my legs, right, and then I got IBS, and now I got weird, unexplained chest symptoms. Like with all of my medical conditions so far, it's taken a while to put a label on per se because it's out of the ordinary and it's just different. It's different, and no one really has a strong understanding. I don't blame anyone. Like it's just like it's an outlier essentially. My conditions, I can personally consider to be like outliers, and the symptom presentation you could say is very different from what's normally seen um, in people. And back to my first medical, I'm like maybe my immune system has something to do with this because I'm gonna test negative because my immune system is a part of me. Like it's not gonna be like yeah, it's not gonna be like oh bacteria. I don't. What am I saying? But like, it can't be detected as positive through a test because it's like my own immune system, which it's not like foreign. It's not like foreign material in my system essentially. So I think if that's messing up my heart, that can be hard to detect. Like I am working through this with professionals. By the way, I'm not trying to solve this by myself or trying to understand this by myself. Like I have professional support, so I got that covered. Yo, don't worry. I got professional support in my ring. Um, yeah, like this whole trauma thing is just so interesting to me, and it's puzzle. It's mind boggling, and it can be frustrating at times. It's like I just want answers, but I don't have answers. And I'm also like being very kind to myself and asking my mind and body, like, what do you need right now? Like, what do you need right now? And I don't know what I need because what I need depends on what the root cause is or what's setting it off. And I don't know. So it's hard. It's really hard for me to pinpoint what I need because I don't know, yeah, what's setting it off. Throughout my stay in the hospital, I was reflecting on what I've learned in like training, trauma aware training, mental health training, uh, not traditional mental health training, more like intentional peer support training. It's like I noticed how the hospital system in general, like the medical field in general, really tries to eliminate symptoms, and the focus is on fixing and getting rid of symptoms as just like get rid of it, get rid of it. No, symptoms are bad, get rid of it. We have to diagnose this and we have to get rid of it. But for me at least, where these experiences have no biological basis, no medical basis, it's like cannot be medically explained because everything comes back as being clear and I'm healthy. The question, the approach shouldn't be to try and fix it and get rid of it. It's more leaning into it and asking like, what is this trying to say, and like, what what my body trying to be communicating to me, in manifesting this pain. And yeah, I don't want to try and get rid of it because firstly, it's not a threat to my health and well-being. It I mean my physical health and well-being, I should say. It does affect my mental health, but physically there is nothing like medically abnormal about the functioning of my organs and stuff. So yeah, I don't really want to try and get rid of it. I'm just trying to understand it more, like what is it trying to say, and approaching it with kind curiosity as opposed to eliminate it. Yeah, from here I'm just like asking questions, trying to understand things, trying to piece things together, just formulate theories that might work, that might help explain things, work with my professional support team, in trying to navigate this entire experience. That's really what I can do right now because I don't have all the answers. And I guess as I learn more about trauma and the way my body responds and my body carrying trauma and like leaning more into the depths of this stuff, I'm hoping I can find more answers and bring more peace to my mind psychologically. Um, yeah, I don't know how long this video's gone for, but I'm gonna not cut anything out and just post the entire thing. Um, Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you in the next video.